What's up, YouTube? Pink Reaper here, back with more Advanced Wars by Web, with another game I'm actually really excited to actually get to share. I haven't felt this way about a lot of the games I've played recently. I just thought, like, they were pretty good games to show, and I wanted to share those ones. But this one in particular, I'm kind of proud of, which isn't something, I don't know. It's not something I've felt about a lot of the other games that I've played. This is a fog game against I'm Merc, or just Merc, from my Discord. He joined actually from watching these videos, and if you enjoy these videos and you would like to play against me as well, like as always, link in the description for my Discord, as well as the Advanced Wars by Web official Discord, and for Advanced Wars by Web if you'd like to check out this website. So this is a fog game, like I said. I've been trying to play more fog just because it's something I feel I'm not super great at. I tend to, when I play fog games, I have a hard time sort of discerning, like, if I win, I have a hard time discerning exactly what it was that caused me to win, and when I lose, I have a hard time sort of discerning, like, where I went wrong. Luckily for me, this game, I feel like I sort of understand how everything went. I think I played it very well for the most part. This map is a very interesting one. For a fog map, there is 4 mountains total on this entire map, and 2 of them are in the very corners. I'm sorry. There's actually 6. I forgot to count these 2 here. 6 mountains total. 4 of them are in the corners, and then these ones are very close to HQ. Not HQ, obviously, but I'm saying like to your starting factory. So it's not super great for vision, for infantry vision at the very least. And it's very just open. There's not a lot of forests to hide units in. There's not a lot of defensive properties outside of actual, like, cities. A lot of shore, a lot of plains, quite a bit of road. So that's all very interesting. Also, there's these pipes here, sort of blocking your initial factories, making it a little bit harder to push out. So it's an interesting map. I've actually played on this map before on fog, but my opponent quit pretty early into the game. I'm not sure if there was a reason for that, like if like they just had to leave, or if they really just thought they were so far behind just because they lost like 2 units to artilleries. I don't know. Anyway, I am playing as player 2, Rachel. Merc is playing as Kindle. I always get Kindle and Cole confused. Which one is which? This is Kindle. This is a lower tier match, meaning only tiers 3 and 4 COs were illegal. Of the tier 3 and 4 COs, I feel like Kindle's probably the strongest. She is the urban CO, so all of her units gain a very large firepower boost when they are on urban properties. That is anything that, like, any property that has to be captured, essentially. Though I do believe that the empty missile silos also count. I might be wrong about that. But yeah, she gets a 40% firepower boost when she's on any urban properties, and her CO power in particular is very powerful. It deals 3 damage to all enemy units that are on urban properties when she activates it. And also increases her urban bonus to like 80%, I think is what it is, for urban blight. Her CO superpower is also really strong, although it doesn't see as much use because it's just, like, because urban blight is just so good. High society bumps up to like 140% her urban bonus, like her bonus for being on those tiles, as well as gives a flat 3% attack bonus per city owned to her units. So that's very strong. Kindle is super, super strong. Rachel, however, is not necessarily like a super weak CO. Generally, I've been trying to pick like the best COs for any given map. But on this one, because I'm playing against someone from my Discord, I didn't want to be like, I gotta be the ultra try-hardest of try-hards at all times. So I picked a waifu instead, you know, that's how it is. I wanted to pick Lash, because Lash is also waifu, but this map is just not, it's not for her. There's not a lot of terrain that she would gain benefit for having used her CO power on. And she's very weak on this map. Rachel's a weird one. She doesn't have any real defined... Excuse me. She doesn't have any real defined traits. I know I was playing Rachel in the last game, and I kind of already described what she did, but she recovers 2 HP, or 3 HP instead of 2 HP on allied properties for her day-to-day. Her CO power is Lucky Lass, which increases her luck value from 0 to 9% all the way up to 0 to all the way up to 39%. And then her CO Superpower drops 3 missiles, which is just... Like, those 3 things are not related in any way, shape, or form. But her CO Superpower is crazy strong. Anyway, jumping into it real quick. Oh, no, oh, cool, it didn't actually pop up on the... I got an update from Firefox that didn't pop up on the actual recording. Nice. So, jumping out here real quick. We're both going to make somewhat obvious plays here. Just sort of the generic push for the early, you know, the neutral factories, because obviously you want to be able to deploy more units more quickly, and then slowly sort of just move out. One of the things I've been trying to do in Fog is, and I think I mentioned this again in the last video, is like advancing early and not worrying as much about the ultra close cities, because I can still get these no matter what. Like, these aren't going to become contested, but out here is, and not knowing whether or not he's moving on them, it's better to just move early on those and then worry about catching up on these ones a little bit later. You do take a bit of a funds disadvantage, obviously, but assuming he's playing similarly to push out here, it won't be as big of a deal. And if he's not, that just means I also have these cities. So, turn 5 here, Merc, at the end of turn 4, I built my first recon. Merc builds his first vehicle, which is actually an artillery, which is sort of an odd choice. Artilleries are really bad in Fog early when you don't have vision. Artilleries are never bad. Like, artilleries are always good. But I'm saying they're bad when you don't have a lot of vision. You don't know where you're going to send them. You don't know what you're, like... And you don't have vision to cover them. But... He does use this to very good, like, he makes a good use out of it anyways. I'm not going to spoil anything later, but... So we're going to start taking it a little bit slower here. So one of the other things I've been trying to do is avoid overbuilding recons. I mean, recons are obviously super useful in Fog games, and especially on this map where there's not a lot of other ways to get big vision cones. Like, there's just this mountain. But it's not necessarily advantageous to waste a bunch of money early on recons, especially since recons as vehicles aren't super strong. They're good against infantry, and that's it, and I guess other recons. So, you know, filling the map with them isn't actually that useful, especially when just a wall of infantry will also give you a lot of vision. So I built an artillery as well, but not for the same reason that Merc did. Merc builds his first tank here. Tanks are... So I feel like, and I've said this before, tank spam is... Maybe I actually haven't said this before. Tank spam in Fog is actually pretty good. Like... Again, so having a couple recons is super useful because it gives you huge vision cones. But tanks also have large vision comparatively to most vehicles. They have 3 vision, which gives them a very good vision cone. And if you have a lot of tanks, you're both threatening actual, you know, damage, but you're also uncovering the map. You're getting information. So generally, once you have like 1 or 2 recons, you're safe to just keep building tanks from that point. You don't need to build more recons. As you can see here, like I said, I've already pushed out quite a bit here in the center, and he's also done the same. Although not quite to the extent that I have. And I'm just only now starting to take these cities. My one My one issue on this turn, I really wasn't certain if I wanted to do this or not. If I wanted to take this city or if I wanted to move that infantry with this one. Because I know from the way the map is laid out that my opponent is very obviously going to have more units down here in this lower area than I am. So having extra infantry down here just to sort of protect each other would be very useful. But I did opt to take this, to take the city anyway because I'm at the point where I'm assuming he's probably at around the same amount of income I am, or slightly more, which he is at slightly more. And I don't want to risk getting too far behind in funds. I need to start deploying some like actual like offensive units soon because I haven't actually done that yet before. I move this artillery right here and I stop it. My plan is to use this artillery to destroy one of these pipes. I'll get into more why here in a second, but I also want to talk about this. I've also started trying, again in fog maps, to really not put my recon out there as much. Building a recon to get vision and then having, and then pushing it into enemy forces, seeing their stuff, and then having it immediately die, that's actually very bad. All you get out of that is one look at what they've got in one area, and then you don't get any more information ever after that. So, I've started just sort of not, like, I don't want to push up too much with a recon. I don't want to keep it exposed. I don't even really want to engage with infantry until I'm way more certain of what I've got as backup and stuff like that. So, yeah. So the artillery that I have here, I'm intending to destroy this pipe, which you can see Merc is not attempting to do this at all. He's gone straight into tank spam, which again, tank spam good. Trust me. But he's very clearly not going to try and do that, not with what he has on the board here. Artilleries are kind of the best units to try and destroy pipe seams early with. They deal about, depending on which CO you're using, they deal anywhere from like 40 to 50%. And unfortunately for me, I had to move it before I started attacking. I guess I didn't have to, but if I didn't, I wouldn't be able to deploy out of this factory until I destroyed it and moved. So I'd rather just waste the one turn moving and then still be able to deploy out of there. The reason I want to destroy this pipe seam is because it makes it much easier to deploy up here where I'm at an advantage. Because I don't have to send a unit around from this factory. It also makes it easier to deploy down here. Not much, mind you. I don't gain a super large amount of it, of movement towards this area. I effectively lose 2 movement without destroying it if I'm going down. Because I have to go down, back 1 and then forward 1 as well to make up for that. I mean, the going down here doesn't matter. It's just this 1 back and the 1 extra forward that loses me space there. But that's still important because, like, tanks, for instance, with their 6 movement, a tank will end right here if I don't destroy this seam, but I can end here if I do destroy it, which is obviously 2 spaces closer into here. And again, being able to deploy down here faster is also important because this is where he has more units. So I did opt to destroy the top one. The bottom one would allow me to deploy to the bottom even faster. Actually, no, I don't think the bottom one... No, I think the bottom one actually wouldn't gain me anything there. Yeah, no, it still ends in the same place. It's still six movement here. So it actually wouldn't... Yeah, the bottom... I remember this the last time I played on this map, is that the bottom one didn't actually gain anything super substantial, but the top one did allow me to deploy to the middle much more quickly. The one difference... The only real difference deploying to the bottom gives... is that you don't have... Actually, does it give anything? No, I actually don't think there's anything to gain from destroying the bottom one. So yeah, so that's the whole reason I built this artillery, is to destroy this seam and to be able to sort of deploy better out here. I don't necessarily know how important that is on this particular map, but I'd also built another recon so I can start getting vision down here on the bottom. I know that I'm definitely with, you know, a turn or two away from when I'm going to have to start interacting with his units, because I'm certain he's got to be close to this area. And then I move my recon up again. Luckily, he has no units that could have seen it. But at the time, I didn't know that. I thought when I saw this artillery, I thought it was very possible that he had a recon in one of these two forests. Because obviously that would make sense. You don't want to deploy a recon without vision. I was actually apparently wrong about that. But it did let me see this artillery, so now, like, at this point I know, okay, he definitely has something up here at least. Again, I got very aggressive with this infantry. I took this property instead of worrying as much about these ones. This one's going to be the hard one now, because I realized, because he has this artillery. These two specifically, like, he's more than likely going to, in my opinion, when I saw this, like, he's going to move into this forest to cover this city and make it hard for me to take. And then here's something really interesting. So I built 2 more infantry, and then I built an anti-air on this turn. There was 2 reasons for this. One, I was hoping this anti-air would be able to destroy this pipe. Like, it would, this artillery is doing 44 damage to the scene. So it's going to be at 11 health on next turn. And I was really hoping that this artillery would be able, or not this artillery, this anti-air would be able to do 11 damage to it. And just open it up on the next turn. Unfortunately, I found out it was not, so that's going to hold up this artillery one more turn, which makes me sad. But the other reason I built it is because I knew that Merc had to most likely be at a point where he's at about, again, the same amount of income I am, 11, not 11, but like 12, 13,000. He's actually at less than that. I wasn't aware. So I figured at this point, I have to be prepared. I'm certain at this point he's also taken his airport. I mean, it's right there, right? So I'm like, I need to build an anti-air in case on this last turn that he just had, he did, if he had, 12,000, he does infantry, 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 helicopter. Because that's the full 12,000, 4 units, and obviously a battlecopter. This is something else I've been trying to do when playing Fog, especially on maps with airports, is build an anti-air before I'm certain I need it. Because 1, anti-airs are just very good against infantry, obviously, but 2, you don't want to be caught with your pants down against like 1 or 2 battlecopters. And like, if there's 2 battlecopters already on the map and you're barely starting to, and you're just like, you find out by having one in mid-map, and then you build your first anti-air, you're gonna lose some tanks, and that's never good. So I was correct. Merc moves his artillery into that tree. That wasn't a huge surprise to me. Unfortunately, I didn't get to, like, I didn't have a unit that could see the tank moving into this tree. But luckily, this one doesn't have vision on me yet. Like, none of his units actually have vision on my units yet, which is very good for me. I've, of course, only seen one of his so far, which is this artillery. But hey, that's more information than he has. And I just want to point this out. The absolute call-out. I built the anti-air, and here it is. 3 infantry and a battlecopter. So that was just like a great pre-buy for me, I should say. So I moved my recon up, and unfortunately I also can't see his units with it, which is very sad, honestly. The inability to see that is, that hurts. And then, of course, he has vision on this city because of his infantry in the forest, which made me sad. I I thought this was a cheeky little play. So you see here, this is just like sort of, I feel like one of the things that I can point to. I say this was me playing really well. So I moved this infantry into the forest here, because obviously infantry in the forest, it hides and it gets me vision. So now I can see he has this infantry capping this city. He has nothing on this city. So I see he hasn't captured at like any of this yet. I'm considering the fact that he might have one up here all the way in the corner, but so because of that, instead of moving this infantry up to support this infantry, like, and be within vision, because I was thinking about this, I was like, I could move here next to the forest to try and sort of like make him, like, if he moves something up, he might see that and then try and move in like something into the forest, right? But then I was like, no, a better plan would be with my 2 vision, I can move down here and I can check this city and see if he's got anything there, which I did, obviously. So it's little stuff like that. Like, I feel like I'm starting to play better. I'm taking sort of like I'm taking advantage of all the information I can get. So unfortunately, because he had that infantry there, he does get to attack this infantry. And he builds double artillery here, which is very interesting to me. Again, he has a lot of infantry, or not a lot of infantry, he has a lot of artillery on the map right now, but not a lot of vision. Battlecopters actually do have 3 vision, I believe, as well, so that's not like bad either, but it was surprising to me that he did that. But this was actually very smart of him. He didn't go for the kill on this infantry with this tank. He left it hidden, because he doesn't know if I have tanks down here or anything like that. And then this was kind of a mistake on my part. I moved this anti-air down to sort of support, quote unquote, this this infantry that's capping the city, so nothing could stop it. But nothing was in range of it anyway, and I saw him move this out of the forest. I know there's nothing in that forest vehicle-wise. Nothing could have reached that. And it just sort of leaves my anti-air exposed. So even if he doesn't have anything in the forest, if he has something like here, like a tank down over here, or obviously over here, it's just open, which is very bad for me. And then I take this chance to build my first battlecopter as well. I chose to wait a little bit on this because I wanted a turn where I could support it with a tank as well. Because in my mind, it was also very possible that he thought to preemptively buy an anti-air, and I wanted to have a tank that can move with my battlecopter to protect it from an anti-air if need be. And then I chose to build it mid here, the tank mid here, because it allows me it allows me to sort of decide based on his turn where I move my battlecopter, because I can obviously, like, depending on what I see, I can move the tank forward here with this tank, and the battlecopter as well, or I can move it down, because it can still move down here to, like, towards the back, or even down here, and I can move down that way to support, just depending on what I see. But again, here's where an issue happens. 7 damage on my anti-air, because I was foolish enough to put it there when I didn't even need to. I did get lucky here. I caught this infantry trying to move into the forest. And then this is where this is interesting to me. So he moves this artillery up, I guess, to just sort of threaten in case anything attacks into his tank. And then he builds his first anti-air as well. So I was waiting, again, assuming for a preemptive one, but he kind of called out my build as well. So luckily, because his tank wasn't on any defensive tile, I get a big hit here, a big win. And this sort of decides for me where I'm going to move my tank. Because now this tank that I was moving up to support had to move down here to essentially invalidate this tank. Now this one is definitely going to have to move up. But this may look weird because I was just saying like, yeah, this copter has to move up here. The reason I moved down here, my intention was to actually move across originally on this turn. I didn't want to move straight out in case he did something weird. Like, again, I don't know. At this point, I don't know that he doesn't have more vision over here on this side of the map. So, like, if he were to, say, move his recon up and kill this or whatever, right? Like if he has a recon right here or something and he moves it up and then, excuse me, that lets him see this tank. And then he moves this tank up and then to fight it or whatever. And then if I have my battle copter right there, he'd be able to see it. So my idea was to just kind of keep it away and then move in separately. This is also another point where I think I made a lot of right moves here. I moved my anti-air back because I wanted to heal it. It's a fund loss, obviously, because I have to pay for I have to pay like 2,400 to heal it to 3 HP. But a 6 HP anti-air is still very strong against battlecopters, so I felt it was better to move it back and heal it rather than force myself to have to buy another one. And then I build the infantry wall. I actually move back a bit. I actually want to, oops. I want to talk about this. So I sort of I defensively place all of my infantry. And this is another point where I think this was just a smart move on my part. I think this was a good play and I'm proud of myself for it. One of the things that I feel like is a big mistake you can make in not just fog games, but in advanced wars in general, is becoming too aggressive. On his last turn, Merc only attacked, not counting what happened down here, Merc only attacked 1 infantry for 6 HP on this upper area. And, the wrong play would be to try and retaliate. Oh, I have an open shot on this artillery with my recon. I can deal some good damage to that. Weaken it considerably. I know I can, attack this infantry and kill it. I can, I have a bunch of units I can take. But the problem is at that point, I'm just trading units for units. And I'm not even getting rid of any of his good ones at that point. If I move this recon out, it'll die to the tank. And then his infantry will clean up my infantry. And it just sort of won't be advantageous to me. So this is keep the recon hidden and keep my vision. Wall out here so that if he does decide to engage with his tank, mine can then retaliate. I even decided to place this infantry here so that this tank couldn't move around. I don't think. Yeah, say it's only capable of hitting this, and it's actually capable of hitting it anyway. Either way, but I also started capping this. I also started capping the city because it sort of forces him to deal with it. At the time, I wanted him to move these infantry back, and I decided the best way to do that would be to start capping the city because it requires him to move to it requires him to react to it, because if he doesn't attack this at all, obviously I'm going to flip a city and that's bad for him. So I just sort of it allows me to be offensive and sort of defensive at the same time, because obviously I'm on a strong panel here. He's got 1 plains and 2 shores to attack from, so whatever he attacks with is going to take a chunk of damage as well. That's strange. This is dead. This has to be dead. This has to be a... I wanna see... It's not dead. So... Okay, this thing either is dead or it moved somewhere. And we're just getting a graphical glitch here. I have no idea what's happening right there. Yeah, see that? He moved all 3 of these units away from my stuff. Like, he didn't even attack my tank with his tank to just sort of... like, because this tank's dead, right? He could have at least dealt some damage to this and lowered its damage output, but he didn't. So... And then here is his tank attack on my tank. So like I said, this is what I meant by not retaliating. So obviously I still lose units by not just sort of moving in to attack him. But as I said in the last video, he moved up here to attack me, and he didn't know what I had back here. He had no vision on what was behind my infantry. He just knew that I had a wall of infantry. And I don't think that was the right play on his part, because it just sort of exposed, like, his tank is exposed here. He can't do anything with it. And I know his artillery's there, and I have units that can just sort of move next to it and expose it as well, so he left it very open. So, and again, this is what I was talking about earlier, sort of protecting my recon here. I just moved from forest to forest because it's going to, again, require something to move next to it in order to see it. So it's going to waste 1 movement just for him to be able to attack it with his helicopter again, and it still gives me a good amount of vision. And then I kill that infantry with this infantry in a forest to, again, like this infantry is most likely going to attack this one. But again, like, it's another thing where it's like I'm maximizing the amount of value I can out of my movements right there. And then this is kind of where I take like I said, this is where I take an early advantage. Like I said, I knew his artillery was there. He didn't know my recon was there. I never showed him that recon. But I was just able to remove his artillery from the battlefield while taking no damage for it. That was 6,000 income that he just lost. He got nothing out of that. And then because this tank was still in range of this tank, I also got to incapacitate that tank with my 9 HP tank, which was great. And then again, here's where I move in. Like I said, this was the plan I had originally had with that helicopter. I moved in. It's out of range of his helicopter. It's covered from his helicopter by this anti-air. It's got a tank support. Like, this was what I wanted to have happen. I should also point out, I didn't point this out at the end of his turn. Merc built 3 more tanks down here. That's very aggressive. Because he was already looking to lose some of his infantry. Like, he was guaranteed to lose some of his infantry from the map. And when that happens, like, when you don't have infantry to support your vehicles, what happens is you just sort of have to trade vehicles for vehicles. And that can go very poorly, especially if, like, your opponent has artilleries and infantry, so that you have to trade. Like, you don't even get to trade. You're just losing a vehicle for an infantry, or if your opponent has battlecopters. So that was very aggressive, and it also spent all of his money. One of the interesting things I'd been trying to do during this game is not spend necessarily all of my money every turn, in case it becomes apparent that I need to put something very expensive out, or like a more expensive package out. Like, if he moves up here and I see 3 more battlecopters or something, like that's all he's been building, I want to have enough money, or at least I want to have the extra money that I can build multiple anti-airs or something like that, right? or if I see he's built like a mid tank, I want to have the money to build like, you know, a battlecopter and some artilleries to fight it with. Not that battlecopters are great at fighting them, but they're not like awful. So here, oh, this was the other thing. I forgot to talk about this. I'm sorry. I need to mention this. So this last turn, I was also very much playing around Urban Blight because I knew it was only 1 or 2 combats away from him building it up. So he was definitely going to have it on this turn. So that was the other reason I was saving money, is because I didn't want to be super low on cash after an Urban Blight. So I was very sort of methodical about which units I was building and how much money it was going to cost me. And then I was also very methodical about making sure none of my units ended the turn on top of a property. The one exception was this artillery, and it was a mistake. I should not have put it here. But, like, because in my mind, I don't know why I thought this tank could move up here, but it can't with this tank here. I could have just put it right here. The problem there, though, is that if I do that, it's not covering this tank. An 8 HP artillery is still very strong. Like, if he engaged my tank with his tank, more than likely he'd lose, what, 3 HP on the crackback? Might be 2 HP. But either way, the artillery at 8 HP would still be able to do a good chunk to it. And most likely I'd be able to clean it up with my own tank after that. So it's still sort of worth it. But you'll note that with the exception of the units I bought, and obviously this, none of my units are currently on an urban property. So yeah, he has 1 combat, and then, well, 2 I guess, because he killed the infantry up here, and then urban blights. But again, you don't see it because of how fog works. But he only hit this, and this. And then these 3 are going to be back at full HP because I'm Rachel. So it actually isn't super bad for me. So that's not like that was a very like non-threatening CO power. Like I took very little from that. I lost a couple infantry just to combat, and that was really it. What I find interesting here though is that he didn't kill my recon. Like if you can see here, he drops it to 3 HP with the infantry, sorry. And then he can see my anti-air right here. And gosh dang it. This is annoying. It's annoying that if I go back 1 action on a turn, like at the beginning of another turn, rather than showing the last action, it just resets the turn entirely. So yeah, it's interesting to me. He just moves it up, but he knows I have the anti-air here. He knows I'm going to be able to hit it. And he's not covering it with anything. So I don't, like, if you're going to throw away your battlecopter like that, you may as well at least, like, attack, right? Kill the recon and lose all my vision. I'd also like to point out, I still have both my starting recons. So yeah, look at that. 8 damage from a 6 HP anti-air. That's why I kept it. And then I just get to clean up with these 2 infantry. This was really lucky for me. Yeah, I can't currently see this tank, right? So I move this tank down to fight this infantry, and then I get to see it. So then I get the attack on it with my battlecopter and just immediately drop it to 5 HP with basically no repercussions there. This is kind of sad. 1, I'm in the range of this artillery, and 2, I didn't get to see this anti-air that was right here, which, oh, that would have been so much better. Oh, also, I forgot to point this out. Merc made the biggest misplay that you can probably make in any given game of Advanced Wars on his last turn. He forgot to deploy. I've done that. I did that against Merc not that long ago, in fact. I just straight up forgot to deploy. I also did it against Shiny on one game. Just forgot to do it before I ended my turn. So the other big one I always do, I not always do, but I do a lot, is I forget to load my landers before I move them. So just sort of cleaning up units that I can over here. This is a pretty bad hit against him. The thing is, like, this really only sets, like, him having not built any units didn't really send him that far behind. We're still at 27 right now in terms of units. Obviously, I'm going to get to build a handful more here. So I'm going to be now ahead per turn on units as opposed to him being ahead per turn for being player 1. I go ahead and build a second battlecopter here as well, because I'm thinking to myself, he has to have an anti-air somewhere on the map at this point, right? And if I accidentally fall into it, I don't want to lose my only battlecopter. I'd like to have a backup, because battlecopters are good, actually. Man, look at that urban bonus. Look how strong that is. So this is where I find out he has the anti-air, but this is another one where I'm like, this was a bad move, and I think he made it because this was another game that was getting kind of played in between, like, not live. We did a lot of sort of, you know, X hours between turns because of real life, and I think he forgot I had this artillery right here. And because of that, he moves his anti-air directly in line with it, which is not great for him, I feel. Especially when he knows I have a battlecopter floating around here somewhere. Now here's where he, like, takes advantage of his lack of buying units last turn. He has a lot of extra money now, so he builds a battleship. This is an interesting choice. There's not a lot of area that this can move, as you can see here, because it's landlocked on this side, and it can only really move to this spot here. But it covers a large amount of area. Like, if he moves it up here, he'll be able to cover a huge portion of area over here with it. And at the time, I don't have vision on it. Like, he had already killed my recon before he built it, so I don't have vision on it yet. It's an aggressive play. I'm not sure I agree with it. I feel like if you're going to spend the extra money, it would have been better to have built a bomber. It's less expensive, so it allows him, like, if you wanted to, he could have deployed something a little more expensive out of one of these. And also, just saying, bombers can instantly destroy these pipe seams, you know, just throwing that out there. I do want to say, I feel like I've been at a bit of an advantage here in the center, being able to deploy my units more quickly, like to this section where all the fighting is happening because of this seam being destroyed. Very defensive of this artillery, very smart. Like, this is what I was talking about earlier, where, like, you want to have the infantry to sort of protect your vehicles. Unfortunately, he made a very big mistake on this turn, and that was so if you look at how the turn went, I am almost at full gauge here, right? Or no, I think, yeah, I'm already at full gauge. Full CO superpower. By the time he ends his turn. Or not even by the time he ends his turn. By the time he's sort of finished with combat on his turn, before he's moved most of his units. he makes the very bad mistake of clustering all of his units together. And I think maybe Merc, if you're watching, you can message me on Discord. You'll be able to tell me. I feel like Merc didn't realize how the missiles work. The 3 missiles all target 3 separate things. One is, and I said this again in the last video, I'm going to say it again here. One is the highest concentration of units on the battlefield. One is the highest concentration of infantry on the battlefield. And one is the highest concentration of funds on the battlefield. So, actually, I did see this. How had I seen this? I had seen this battleship at this point. I remember during the battle knowing he had a battleship here. I don't remember how I saw it. Maybe he did build it. What turn did he build that? Was that turn 12? Yeah. Maybe he did build it before killing my recon? Let me see here. Sorry. So it must have happened on turn 13. No. How did I see this? Oh, with this tank. That's how. That's right. This tank got to see this battleship. That's how I knew it was there. So, before I popped the CO Superpower, I knew that one was going to hit down here. And I knew one was going to hit right around here. Because, this one battleship being worth 28,000 isn't like that's worth more than everything else really on the battlefield. There's nowhere like the missile might literally just hit right here. I was actually expecting it to either land right here to hit the tank and the battleship, or like right here, which would have hit this infantry, this tank, and this battleship. I just didn't know if like, because this is obviously isn't one tank's worth of income right here, and I didn't know if I didn't think about it as like, obviously this 1,000 is worth, combined with this, what is it, 6,300 is worth more than just the 7,000. So, gosh dang it. So I activate my CO Superpower, and I was correct. One missile hits here, and it does hit this battleship, even though you can't see it. And I knew already that this got hit, without being able to see it. And then 2 of them hit down here. Basically annihilating all of these infantry, and that's sort of beginning of the end at this point, because as you saw in the last game, like that big of a loss, like there's not really much you can do about it. So I take the chance to just start cleaning up what he's got down here. Also, holy cow. Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. This one also got hit, duh. I was like, how did that do so much damage? Right. Because it was hidden in the fog, it didn't show the HP values, just because that's how the replay works. But it was already damaged down. I think it was down to 4, actually. That only did 3 damage. But yeah, I just get to clean up a ton of units down here. Now, obviously, I'm leaving a bunch of stuff in range of this... this battleship, but the trade was absolutely worth it. Like, the 1 infantry he's going to take out for that. Like, this is a big blowout turn for him. And then I do opt to move back this tank and start healing it up. That was this was a small mistake though on my part. Same with moving like this. Like these movements here, these were little mistakes on my part. I also wasn't paying enough attention to his CO power at this point until after I'd already moved like this artillery. I was like, oh, he's definitely going to urban blight on his turn, and I'm going to lose HP on this. I'm going to lose HP on this, and this one will get fully healed, obviously, but I have to just pay for it. This one doesn't matter. I'm going to go from 1 HP to 1 HP either way. I did notice after I moved those, but before I bought though, which is why I sort of didn't invest super heavily on this turn in terms of units. Yeah, so there's the CO power, obviously. Luckily for me, his tank moving didn't get to see this artillery, so nothing really got to hit this artillery, which was very good for me. I was sad that I lost that capture, though, I'm going to be honest. Again, I'd also like to point out how good him not having destroyed these seams is for me, because he can't deploy an anti-air from here and move close quickly in here. He has to deploy from here to here. And it takes so much longer to get over here. That's just really good for me. Like, if he had destroyed this seam, like, he could have an anti-air right here. Just saying. And again, look at this. Look at this smart use of my my recon here. Just 1 HP, throw it into a forest, force something to deal with it. Like, force 2 units to deal with this 1 HP unit, or keep all of this vision. Very good for me. This was a mistake, by the way. Just want to say that. I was like, I'm going to start capping the city. There was a reason for that. I want to say this. There was a reason for that. Like, I was like, I'm going to start capping the city so he's forced to deal with it with this artillery and it can't move. Except, yeah, he still has this battleship here and it can definitely just kill me. So, yeah, that was dumb on my part. I would like to give a huge shout out to my rocket that did 3 damage to this battleship, though. It wasted nearly 6,000 of his funds on the next turn, having to repair it. I think it was 30. What did 56? Is I think how much it cost to repair 2 HP on that. Yeah, so the anti-air has to move down there to deal with my recon, which is great. Again, he has no anti-air up here where I actually have my battle copters, which is very good for me. Although he hasn't seen this one yet. So I take this chance again. Like, I'm at a huge advantage at this point. I've got multiple uncontested battlecopters up here, which are just absolutely ruining his day. And I have a bunch of infantry down here, just sort of like, again, pressuring his cities, along with, you know, the couple vehicles that he has to answer with his vehicles if he wants to do anything with, anything to them. I did keep getting, like, and I should have realized this, like, I should have realized he was never going to deploy, like, from this factory, like, up here. I keep getting caught off guard by him having a unit just waiting anytime I do something down here. And, like, every single turn I should have seen that coming. Because I know he hasn't, like, I know he's got to be deploying, like, vehicles from there, right? But again, on the plus side, how I'm built up right here, he can only actually attack this infantry with 1 unit. So maybe I can survive long enough to, you know, cap the city. I can't, though. And then this is a very aggressive turn for me. I build a bomber. Having seen 1 anti-air and it being here on the bottom, I feel pretty safe building this bomber. And also I was like, well, I can use that bomber to take care of the battleship. And I can even, like, probably put it somewhere where his anti-air can't even attack it, so... Yet another sort of unfortunate turn for him. He has to move this anti-air here to attack my infantry, but now it's in range of my artillery again. He moves his boat up. I understand why he did this. It gives him... I want to be able to show this range. It gives him even better range in this area. Like, it allows him to cover a very large range. And then here's where something sort of interesting happens. So I attack this infantry, and that gives me vision on his artillery and his battleship having moved. I'm like, oh, his battleship is no longer on a defensive tile. I can deal some actual damage to it with my helicopter. Look at that, 3 damage. That's really good. If that was still on the port, I think I would have done like 1 damage. Actually, we can find out. We'll select my battlecopter. We'll select that, but we'll move on to a port. 2 damage. I would have done 2 damage, so 1 less damage. I did not attack... So you might be wondering this, by the way. You might be wondering why I didn't attack this this tank here. It's because, again, it sort of puts the onus on him. Like, if I do that, if I attack this tank with this tank, I'll deal some damage, but I'll die. And then he still has his tank here to kill this. And he has free reign to just move into the forest if he has something there down here again. So I just sort of move there to sort of block him in. And to, again, force something else to move right here to deal with it. And then, again, because I'm capping this city as well, if whatever's here moves to stop this cap, this tank just gets to stay here. Oh, excuse me. Here comes Urban Blight again. Oh, by the way, yeah, destroyed another pipe seam, just saying. I knew that was coming. I knew he was going to have it built up. Or I knew he had it built up. So again, this was another turn where I just sort of didn't buy anything expensive. I actually built another recon. I should have talked about this when it happened, but I built another recon to be the vision, like be the forward movement for this bomber. I don't want this bomber to get caught off guard by any anti-airs and just lose my big investment, right? So this is just sort of the sacrificial lamb to let me know that I can move safely with this. And also, like, it was something not super expensive to build in this situation where I knew Urban Blight was coming. So here's what I was talking about earlier. He did kill both the infantries to stop both the caps, but because of that, this tank just got to live. Okay, so what happened on this turn was big. I just don't. Oh, I do remember what happens. Okay, so here. Here's where I make what I feel like to be a pretty good play on my part. So, in general, when people play as Rachel, when they very much focus on her CO superpower covering fire, because it's so powerful. Like, you saw how much it basically, like, it's what put me in the winning position for this game, right? Like, it's what gave me this huge advantage. However, Lucky Lash should not be underestimated. The way that luck works in this game, it's just a flat additive damage increase, okay? I've mentioned this before. It's not ideal. I can deal up to like 40% more. Like, it doesn't increase the amount of damage I do by 40%. It adds 40% of damage to what I can possibly deal. So like, if I'm say attacking this battleship with a battlecopter that can deal at max, you know, that deals 19 to 25% damage, what I can now deal is actually 19 to like 50% damage. Like, it just adds that amount on. Oh wait, and in this particular position where he has multiple exposed tanks with on little to no defensive tiles, and he has this battleship, like, you see where I'm going with this. I actually get kind of a low roll, I think, on this one. If I can show this. Not a low roll. This is like a mid roll. This is like the average that you would expect, I should say. So as you can see here, 59 to 94%. That is how much damage I can possibly deal to this tank. Now, obviously I dealt damage somewhere in the 70s. That shouldn't be surprising. About 2 damage more than what you're supposed to deal is what you should expect when using this, because that's just sort of the middle, like the average, right? Right in between the damage values. But then let me also show you this. Is here 20% to 47%. If I get either of these rolls to be just okay, basically, right? The 9 HP one is going to deal a little bit less damage, but luck also, I should point this out, luck also decreases with HP. So 39% is the max at 100%, but if I'm at 5 HP, that 39% also gets halved. Like, it maxes out to, I think, you know, it would max out to 19% or whatever. So yeah, that's why that drops off a bit there. But as you can see, with just some middling rolls, I can just kill this, right? So both of these roll middle, not really surprising. But then down here, I get very good rolls and just get to kill that battleship. I get a very bad roll against this artillery, actually. I could have killed that. And then this one is what makes me sad, too. Before you see this, again, I'm just going to pop up the calculator just to show why I did this. Oop, that's not right. I have a, like, so 32% is the maximum I can deal here. Now, obviously, I'm not guaranteed such a high roll, but like, in my mind, I'm like, I might be able to deal 2 damage to this, you know, to this tank, and you know, it's gone, right? It's crippled. It's at 1 HP. I don't know what I actually rolled, but it wasn't high. I did no damage. That's so sad. This is another one that made me kind of sad. Like, I know he has the defensive power on, like his power on, so he has a defense boost as well. But I'm 99% certain that, like, that should have killed. I remember looking at this and being like, why didn't that die? Why am I missing this? Oh, it's at 2 HP right now. Let's move it back up to 10 HP. Ah, yeah. So 99% was the most I could have done, but I got like a 0 luck roll on that. Like, literally a 0 luck roll. Although if I was going to get a 0 luck roll, I'm glad I got it on that, not up here. So obviously I have a very good view of what's around here, so I don't have to worry as much about this this bomber moving up right this area. I would, like, my next turn I can move this recon up, and I can see, you know, a bunch of stuff up here. I move to just start sort of, like, I start capping cities, because he's a lot less capable of dealing with that now, because I don't know what he's still got left, but he doesn't have anything in this general area to stop these caps. My plan was, like, if he didn't have a way to deal with this, or even if he did, I can just move this on next turn anyway. And then Merc retires. So, the actual thing that happened is he came back, he saw his battleship was dead, and he's like, alright, I'm done. I'm like, yeah, I lucky last it. Which is all very understandable. He's very far behind now. It all sort of snowballed after the CO superpower here. Obviously, the lack of buying units was also a huge thing. He was already, like... whoa, what is happening here? There we go. He was already pretty far behind. Was he really? Like... Is that actually... Okay, yeah, that was just the replay had to catch up. I was like, there was no way he only had 16 units at the start of this turn. He wasn't that far behind. But, I mean, he went from 25 units to, what, 17? Like, that's a huge loss right there. That's a third of his army just gone. With basically no losses on my side. That's the other thing. That was the really big thing. And he wasn't even in a he wasn't even in a position to retaliate. That's, like, that was devastating. And then lucky last allowing me to just super cripple a lot of his units as well at the end of the game there. That was it. But yeah, like, I honestly, God, another hour-long video. Why am I like this? My throat hates me too. Like, you have guys no idea how hard it is. Especially, I just got off work before this. I was talking all day at work too. Gotta have that water, I'm gonna die. Like, I really do feel like I played pretty well here. Obviously, Merc made a huge mistake not buying units that one turn. We don't know how much that would have changed things if he had done that. We also don't know how much it would have changed things if he had just destroyed one of these pipe seams, Merc. I'm always on him about that. One of the other games one of the first games we played, he lost. And, we were kind of going over the game together and trying to decide what it was that caused him to lose the game. And I'm like, oh, that's easy. I destroyed a pipe seam and you didn't. And he's like, I've been on him about that ever since. But no, I do think I played very well. I obviously didn't play perfectly, and I did make some mistakes. I did make some boneheaded plays here and there. But I think I played around his CO power very well. I think I played in the fog very well, just like in terms of information gathering. I made a lot of, I feel like, smart choices with how I, like, moved my units, how I played my turns, when I allowed units to die, when I moved forward, when I pushed forward and stuff like that. I don't know, I just feel like, I feel like this is one of the better games I've played, and I don't want to, like, if you've made it this far, I don't want it to seem like I'm just some amazing player and Merc is awful or something like that, and that's why I won. Merc is very good at this game. I feel like part of the reason he lost is because he was just playing so many other games simultaneously. He's been playing on Global League, the ranked ladder, multiple games at a time, and winning, while also playing casual games, while also playing games with me. Like, that splitting your focus like that can screw you up. Meanwhile, I was only playing like 2 games. I was playing this and like one other. So, obviously, it wasn't nearly as hard for me. But still, I really do feel like I made a lot of smart plays. Is this that same 6 HP? It is. This is the same anti-air I built that one turn before he built his battlecopter. But, like, again, like, even my battlecopters, like, on the last turn, I was definitely, like, if he decided to keep playing, I was going to lose a battlecopter on this turn. He has he has his, he has an anti-air finally in range of it. But still, like, I feel like I managed to take advantage of all the units I had on the map. I managed to use them all very well. I don't really feel like I misplayed anything or misplayed any of my units or anything like that. Very badly. I did misplay maybe like 1 or 2 times, but mostly with like infantry and the like. So I do really feel like I played this game well. And I'm glad. I'm glad I'm getting better at Fog, because, or at least I hope I'm getting better at Fog, because Fog is something I've always, like, the games that I've played in Fog, I feel like I feel like I wasn't getting it as well as I could have, and I feel like this game definitely helped me sort of to start push a little further into that metagame. But anyway, hour and 10 minutes later, if y'all managed to stay this long, thank you, honestly. This is a movie that I'm uploading, and this has been a bunch of movies, and anyone who's watched any of the most recent, like the Advanced Wars by Web videos that I put up recently, that have been incredibly long, if you managed to make it to the end, really, honestly, thank you, because I really do enjoy playing this game, and I am enjoying making these videos, and I'm thankful if anyone wants to watch it and really like watch the whole thing. But yeah, until the next one, guys, this has been Pink Reaper, signing out.